baseball player, but just what
Recording
was
in
rehab
progress.
like after your surgeries and just feeling like yourself again, and then step two, kind of being able to execute on the mound.
Yeah, overall I've had a long road coming back. After the surgeries, I was down probably 30 pounds, 35 pounds to where I am now. And I guess that part really was hard for me to get back to where I am. I was 148 after surgery, and now I am 185. So it was just that part was tough. And then overall, just trying to rehab and get my arm strength back. Hitting the weight room almost every day, just trying to make sure I'm strong enough to pitch. That was mainly my off season all of last year and into this year. And then once I got on that mound, it was trying to make that adrenaline work for me instead of against me because I'd get really tired in the beginning of my pitching. And the first time I pitched this year, it actually like helped me. I felt great, and it was just very exciting and relieving to be back on the mound.
Jacob, I know it's been almost a week, but can you kind of recount those emotions when you got the call that you're going into that game for the first time after all that's happened and kind of getting out there and having the performance that you did? How did that feel for you?
Yeah, it felt great. I originally was supposed to go in the first weekend on Sunday, and it was awesome that we run ruled them. I was going in the game that next inning, and I felt really good, excited to go in, and then I got hit with that, and I was like, all right, well, I'll just wait for my next opportunity. And that opportunity came next Friday, and it was super exciting to finally be able to be back on that bump.
Jacob, can you kind of give us, I don't know, I guess a bit of a timeline? I'm not all that familiar with everything that you went through. I know you had your arm procedure, but then also Coach mentioned you had some work done on your heart. I mean, how did that all kind of come about? Can you kind of walk us through and how you process all that kind of emotionally?
Yeah, yeah. So I was born with a bad heart valve, and I knew I was going to need surgery within maybe in my 30s or something. And I remember I came up to FSU in the beginning of like not last fall, but the fall before that, and I had to get my heart checkup. And when we were going through it, I was brought in towards the doctor's office, and they told me like, "Hey, like you have to get surgery within the next couple months because I had aortic valve stenosis occurring, and the blood started pushing on another valve, causing it to close. And that's when they raised the red flags and told me to get surgery. And yeah, I went through two open heart surgeries within 5 days of each other. And the overall process it was tough to get through. The first 3 months, I had to wait for my sternum to heal in order to start rehab. And as soon as I got into rehab, it was tough because the heart isn't used to just those slow walk exercises, just stuff like that, and getting the body moving again. And then once I was able to come back up here, I continued to do all that stuff. And I believe it was in February or March is when I started throwing again. And I just took off from there.
You mentioned it, but you were told that at some point, like the check was gonna come due on this. So I
Yeah.
guess you kind of prepared yourself for that. But the fact that like I don't know, man, what were you 20, 19, and then you had to go on two open heart surgery in 5 days. I mean, could you even process it? I mean, did it even click or was
Oh
it
no,
going
absolutely
on?
not. It was more of a shock. So it was right after my 21st birthday, and it was actually before is when I was told, but then I was able to celebrate here with all my friends and just the baseball team in general. But then once it was time to go up to Boston, that's when it kind of hit me. That's when I knew it was real. Um, and then I wasn't like as worried or scared too much about going into it. It was once I was able to actually get into the doctor's office is when in the hospital is when it actually started to like I started to hit the panic button a little bit.
I mean, again, just because I'm dense, what was there an overlap between those procedures and what you had done on your arm? How much of a gap was there between those two things?
Oh no, I didn't have anything done on my arm. It was
Okay,
just the heart surgeries.
I apologize, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it's okay.
Jacob, just to follow up with that, what was the reaction of the people close to you, if you don't mind sharing? And then also last week, kind of following up on what Liam said, what was their reaction also seeing you on the mound for the first time?
Yeah, it was just everyone was just super proud of me. Just for, obviously how much I've really just wanted to be back on the mound. That was just my main drive of trying to get better. And text messages, just people calling me, family, friends. It was really nice for everyone to be that excited for me to start pitching again. It was I felt amazing after just knowing how many people really do care for me, and that was awesome to see.
Jacob, kind of following up again on that. When we talked to Link after Friday and even Jamie, they mentioned how hard you worked, and Link called you the true story of that game. To get that support from your team, and what was that support like for you during your recovery process, but also when you started throwing again and working through some of those mechanical things that maybe you had to relearn? What kind of support did those guys give you?
They gave me all the support really I needed. They stuck by me, knew what I was going through, and made sure that I was cared for. The guys were always trying to push me to be better, and I really couldn't thank them enough. It was just like everyone was in it together for me, and I really appreciate that. Them being like just wanting to know that I'm okay. Because I remember right after surgery, I had like thousands of text messages from everyone just trying to make sure that, everything was going well, and they're in their prayers and all that. And now when looking back at it, like all my friends and all the baseball players around me, they just wanted me to get back on the mound as soon as I can, and it really drove me to be better for them.
In that same regard, I guess, Jacob, Link's talked about just how well this team kind of gets along and how, I don't know if surprise is the word, but just what's it been like in that clubhouse? What kind of bond do you guys have? I mean, how comfortable do you guys feel, like some of the new guys, just day one being around this team in this program?
Yeah, I mean, this program, it's really tough to actually, be able to come into this program, and you got to compete for a spot. And I'm really, it's just an awesome feeling for everyone overall to know that the next guy has your back. Even if you have a down day, there's someone else that's going to come in and do the job and help you move forward. And just overall, like the new guys, like I was a new guy last year, and the guys that have been here, they're very welcoming and very excited for you to be here with them. And just the overall camaraderie between the whole team and the staff, it's really great.
In that regard, we saw last night, obviously you came in and then Ben comes in and we talked to Link. Last time we saw him on the mound, he looked as good as he had. And then he comes out, he's an off night. But then Chris comes in, gets out of a bases loaded jam. That pitching staff, especially that bullpen, you guys just look so supportive of each other and no one's ever having their head down. What is that? Where does that come from? I think you kind of touched on it just there, but where does that come from? And how nice was it to see, Chris kind of come in and pick up for Ben and, knowing that he can do it for him later in the year?
Yeah, yeah, it's just because of how close we are as a team and a pitching staff. Like we know that if someone's gonna have a bad day, we always have someone else that'll back them up. And having a pitching staff that's able to do that is the making of a great staff. That's what Posey says all the time, is if you're able to come in after somebody and make sure that they are picked up, then you have a great staff. Like overall, when we're able to just come together and be able to close out games the way that we did last night, it shows the character of our pitching staff.
Jacob, are you more or less out of the woods now? And did you feel any more comfortable going into the game last night compared to, last week?
Yeah, 100%. I felt so much more comfortable. It was just I feel more settled in. The first like inning jitters are out, and I'm very excited to, finally be able to start pitching again and to the best of my ability.
Do you wear a fitness tracker or anything when you're out
Yeah,
there?
I wear the Whoop
Yeah.
bracelet.
Maybe they get you some free months of a subscription on that. What did it look like when you went in the game last night? When you went into the game last week?
Well, it's actually been a lot better. So when I go in, it's probably around like 160s to 170s. But before that, when I was still rehabbing, it would get in the 200s sometime. It'd get up there.
Jacob, I'm just wondering, was there ever a time when you just thought, maybe I shouldn't go back to pitching, like, just throughout your rehab process, just what type of mental grind was that on you to know that you have to fight every day just to get back on the mound?
Yeah, that's a good question because I knew I never wanted to quit. There wasn't a thought in my mind that I didn't want to stop playing baseball. It was more about just trying to keep course and drive myself in order to get back on the mound. It was definitely a very tough time for me, I'd say, because you're watching a team that went to Omaha last year and you can only do so much for that team. But overall, it felt like I had a great experience. They all wanted me to get better for them for the next year, and I hope that I can do that for them now.
Jacob, Alyssa Cooper with Family TV 20. Your teammates, you talk about how much support that you've gotten from your teammates, but when we speak to them about you, they just say how you've inspired them with your story and everything that you've been through. So, do you consider yourself to be an inspiration? Are you, trying to be an inspiration? Or are you just going out and doing what you can?
Yeah, I mean, I want to say that I'm doing what I can. I know that I've had a lot of people reach out to me saying that I am more of an inspiration to them because, like, for instance, there's a kid that goes through a lot of open heart surgeries, and he's someone that I look up to, and he looks up to me. And just knowing that you have someone that is watching you do what you're doing after what they're going through, I feel like it gives them hope in order for them to start doing what they want to do with their dreams and stuff. So I think it's really cool.
Jacob, I read, your high school coach was super supportive, Charlie Maurer, I believe it was, and he even gave you a baseball and put
Yeah.
it in your hand after surgery. What kind of relationship do you have with him? And, how important was he not only in that process, but kind of navigating everything when you transition from high school into college?
Yeah, he's been with me. We're really close. He was with me throughout the whole process. He went up to Boston to see me and made sure I was doing well, made sure the doctors were in check. And overall, I think me and him have a really close bond, even outside of baseball. It's just a good relationship to have.